While superficially the topic tonight is about undocumented immigration, the debate taking place in this country is really a deeper one. And it's about whether immigrants, legal or not, are bad for America. And if you listen closely to Heather, it's about whether Latino immigrants specifically are in fact destroying the fabric of our culture. Now, everybody here actually on stage agrees on one thing, and that is our current immigration system is broken. What we disagree about is what is broken about it and how best to fix it. If you vote for us, it's because you share our belief that immigrants are in fact integral to who we are as America, and that they and their children are integral to the benefit and future of our country. Indeed, our core values as a nation are constantly renewed by immigrants who come here seeking freedom and fairness and opportunity for themselves and their families. The vibrancy and boldness of the youthful can-do attitude, the spirit of America, is refreshed by immigrants who have the courage, the strength, and initiative to leave their homes and their loved ones, and in many cases, as Enrique said, risk their lives to be part of the American dream. Throughout our history, there have been people arguing that immigrants are taking jobs and failing to assimilate, that immigrants from certain religious, ethnic, or racial backgrounds are culturally unfit or unwilling to be Americans, that they bring ignorance, poverty, and disease and threaten the dominance of English. That's what was said about the know-nothings who argued about the Italians, the Irish, the Germans, the Jews, and even the Asians in the last century. And that's what's being said by the restrictionists today. Yet in every case, immigrants and their children built businesses, they learned English, they joined the military, often in the face of discrimination against them because of their religion or because of their race. Current immigrants are learning English even faster than the past and are helping to drive the creation of small businesses here in New York and around the country. And as we stand here debating tonight, immigrants and their sons and daughters are in Afghanistan and Iraq defending American values. And I'm talking about immigrants who are not even yet citizens. Now, restrictionists have consistently been on the wrong side of history. And if you vote with them, it's because despite our long experience as a nation, you share their doubt about the power of American culture and American values. Rather than dealing with the very discomforting dislocations, and they are scary, brought about by globalization and the new internet-driven economy, it's easier to blame immigrants and target them for their fears as if they all went away, magically, we wouldn't have these new challenges. They hope to keep jobs in America by building high walls. And if we follow their old school isolationist prescription, America's ability to generate jobs and compete in the global economy will fail. Before computers and the internet, maybe, and the globalization of corporations, it might have been possible to lock those jobs in. That's no longer the case. Even agribusiness is moving across borders, with American companies buying farmland in Mexico because they can't get the workers they need here in the US. And what does that mean in terms of our food security, that we can no longer fully feed ourselves? Vernon talked about class. Well, it's true that immigration challenges at all levels, actually. The American Bar Association magazine this month featured a story on the outsourcing of legal work to India. Because the reality is today with the internet, even if you keep immigrants out, it doesn't mean that the jobs are staying here. All of us agree that a system which results in a huge number of undocumented immigrants who are extremely vulnerable to the exploitation that the professor talked about is not good. Because many restrictionists believe that immigrants are the root of these problems, their solutions tend to be reactionary policies that foster division and actually backfire on communities and American citizens. I want to be clear, despite the back and forth, we are not arguing for open borders, and we're not arguing that our laws should not be enforced. What we are saying is let's be smart. Let's talk about what laws need to change so in fact they are enforceable and they make sense. Laws only function when they're humane, and right now our immigration laws are not humane and they do not make sense. As Dan said, we don't provide a realistic number of visas or permanent green cards. The backlog for spouses and children to join with a legal permanent resident is now 5 to 10 years. Is that smart?
That's why we have some undocumented immigration. How many people would wait 10 years to be with their spouse or child? The backlog for high-tech workers to get a green card once they've already proven their value to our economy is now 5 to 7 years. The number of visas available for temporary low-skilled workers is 5,000 a year. Now, we could debate what the number should be, but I think most of you would find it strikingly unrealistic to say that 5,000 is the right number. Restrictionists talk about attrition through raids and hostile policies, and what they really mean is making our communities so uncomfortable that people who, as was pointed out by Mark, are finding much better wages here are going to be forced back across the border. We believe that it makes sense to reform the system to provide sufficient channels for legal entry, bring the current undocumented out of the shadows. Nobody really believes we can get 12 million out, and more vigorously enforce existing anti-discrimination, wage and hour, health and safety laws in the workplace. The restrictionists don't talk about that. That is why undocumented get exploited. That's why employers like to hire them, because we are not enforcing the wage and hour and health and safety. 10 years ago, there was one inspector of restaurants in New York for wage and hour. That is ridiculous. We can reduce incentives without punishing everybody. For example, what is going to happen now, the Bush administration is going to now require employers to match their Social Security numbers, and if you have a no match, you have 30 days to clear it up. 30 days. The Inspector General of the Social Security Administration says we have at least 17 million errors in the data. There's only 12 million undocumented. So what does that mean? That means a lot of us are going to get caught up in that system. So what we are saying is, let's have reasonable laws. Mark talks about licenses. Well, we're not giving licenses to immigrants to help them. We're giving licenses because we would prefer that everybody driving on the road can get insurance and take the tests and know the rules of the road. By not providing them with driver's license, we're only punishing everybody else who's on the road with them. At bottom, the question is, do we really want to be the kind of community that refuses emergency health care to someone because they can't produce a birth certificate or a green card? Do we want to be the kind of community like Riverside, New Jersey, that found that their economic revival of their downtown was reversed overnight when they decided it was best to pass hostile, symbolic measures? And now Main Street is boarded up and property values have tanked.
Speaking against the resolution, Karen Narasaki. Thank you very much.